So what are we seeing right now in the markets, in the economy? What is going on? Because it is kind of confusing what is happening, and the market just seems like it's everywhere. So today we're seeing an average price decrease in crypto across the board for stablecoins. An S&P 500 drop about 2% almost, which is pretty dramatic, all things considered. Along with the NASDAQ composite full of the top 100 tech industries decreasing by about 5%, which is also pretty dramatic. So what are we seeing right now? Well, I think it's fair to consider that we're seeing not likely a recession, but more likely a balancing out of the economy or a reset, because the economy has been kind of wonky, over putting finances and influence into companies that have AI markets. So we've overvalued AI markets dramatically these last several months or even couple of years. And we might be seeing a little bit of a correction in that, knowing that these companies don't actually output that level of value. Now that could be what we're seeing, especially since we are seeing companies like Walmart go up dramatically in value this last week, upwards of 10%, which unfortunately only ever happens or is mimicked right before an economic collapse of some sort. We saw it in 2008 before the housing market crash, 2001 before the dot-com bubble blow up, and in 2020 right before COVID, finances were transferred from tech industries or whatever else was booming into Walmart, which is exactly what we're seeing today, and why the S&P 500 isn't actually dropping as much as it could be, mimicking the top 7 corporations that are down today because they are all in tech. So as odd as it sounds, we're in a really weird spot, and I don't think that we should expect a economic collapse or a complete reset to happen, though it's not impossible. I think we should consider that right now it is more likely that we are going to see some sort of correction in the market, which I think is likely going to be the case. So what should you do with your money that is invested? Well, you should do what the best investors of all time do and just hold. You have about a 99% chance of your finances being up if they're invested if you just hold over the span of 10 years. Now, it's not fun, it's not unique, it's not day trading-y, but it's realistically what you should do with your investments. I'm sure that no matter what happens tomorrow, this week, or this month, that in the future, 10 years from now, your portfolio, which you should have diversified, will likely be up. Now, another thing to consider is that February statistically is one of the worst months of the year for the S&P 500 performance for a variety of reasons, and that could be a reason why we're seeing a slight decrease today. But I think there's too many other factors at play, especially since we're just starting the month of February, to be able to blame it on those factors. Now, if you're not invested right now, this could be a good time to jump into investing and see a little bit of early growth on your investments. And if you're not invested and you think, well, what does this have to do with me? I don't even have investments. I'm not going to lose a thing. Well, it's worth considering how lower investments across the board, lower money, worse, image of the dollar, worse economy, prices are going to shift for everything you buy day to day. On top of prices shifting for everything you buy day to day, if your business or your corporation is going to struggle during times of economic backlash or a reset, there's a good chance there's going to be firing or layoffs. We've already seen dramatic layoffs in the tech sector, and undoubtedly over these next couple months we are going to see continuous and constant firing and layoffs in the tech sector, since we saw such an overhiring and oversaturation of employees during the 2020s, early 2020s. So what should you do in that case? Just keep trying to be a good employee. Be wise with your spending. Do not overspend right now. Just prioritize saving, having capital and an emergency fund so that way you can take care of yourself and your family if anything bad happens over these times, or an animal or another loved one, whatever you can do. And just try to be wise. Stay away from gambling. Please. There's not going to be a successful ending or outcome to that. Be wise with your spending and your finances, and just stay straddled in case we do see some sort of economic downturn in the coming months. So stay safe, stay wise.